So I'm going to start this evening with by asking you a question. And before I do, let me just say that the goal here this evening is for you not to have a new hobby or join a new club or be a member of a new group. The goal here is to become financially free. So let's start with this question. What percentage return does your bank give you on any spare capital that you may have in your bank account? Do you actually know? I can tell you what my bank give me. It's 0.01% per annum. Here's a screenshot of a similar account. And here's the comical part. That is gross. That is as in, not as in it's horrible, but which it is, but as in before deductions, quite comical. So what if I could show you a way for your money to return you maybe 1% per annum? If you could get 1% per annum, that would be 100 times more than I'm currently getting from my bank. Or what about 1% per day? So let me show you a screenshot of what all our members received in 2020, the first full financial calendar year, over 329%. This is the amount that all our members received during that period. And during the period, of course, when the pandemic started around the world, one of the most difficult financial years on record, and yet we averaged well over 1% every working day. So 100 times more in one day than my bank gives me in a year. So and now I'm saying this I'm not saying this to impress you, but rather to impress upon you the value of what we have here and what you're about to witness this evening. So let's get into a little bit more detail, and I will come back to this slide as we go through the presentation. So welcome to a company and a business known as CFX or Cash FX, operating in the foreign exchange or Forex market. Forex is just an abbreviation of the words foreign exchange. Now, before I start, I guarantee that what you're about to witness is not what you think it's going to be about. Yes, it is about trading on the foreign exchange, but with a difference. The difference is you don't do a thing. It's a totally done for you service. So it appeals to those who have no previous experience whatsoever in financial markets or dealing with brokers, the foreign exchange or anything like that. And of course, it appeals to those of us who lead busy lives, which is most people nowadays. You're also going to see that this is about a truly humanitarian mission-driven project. And it's a platform giving ordinary people like you and I, the chance to build significant wealth and return a passive income for themselves and their families. And of course, when we do that, we so educate our children on how they can do exactly the same. So let's start by talking about what CFX has brought to the market in the nearly 3 years since they've been trading, well into year 3 now, and why they've been so consistent in their returns to their members during that time. Almost 3 years results is long enough for you to vet and see for yourself what's been going on. And when you do that, you'll find nothing but truth and transparency. Naturally, you will want to do your own due diligence or research, and that's absolutely fine. And we will help you with that and point you in the right direction so you can get all your questions answered. But let me tell you right now, Google is a search engine. It is not a research engine. You use Google to find out facts and figures. Who was the 23rd president of the US? How many times have Arsenal won the FA Cup? Things like that. You search for Google for facts, not opinions. And unfortunately, the internet is full of opinion. I'll cover more about this as we go through, especially towards the end. But let's get stuck into why the foreign exchange market. What is so different or special about this marketplace, and who trades it? Well, all the central banks, the financial institutions, governments, the whole banking industry, multinational corporations, the list goes on. They all participate in the global foreign exchange market. So another question for you. What do you think your bank does with your capital on deposit? Do you actually know? I can tell you what they do. They trade the Forex market. That's what they do. That's where a majority of their profit is made. Do they pass on these profits to their customers, you and I? No. But why do they trade this market? What is so special? Well, there's 4 key points here on this slide. The first is, it is the largest, most liquid financial market on the planet, bar none. And the amount that is traded on average per day is 5.3 trillion US dollars. Now, let's put that into perspective. If I said to you tonight that to have a go on the lottery, it's worth winning, it's $61 million. That would change anyone's life. That's what 5.3 trillion equates to per second. And the market is traded 24 hours a day, 5 days a week. $61 million per second. It probably takes 3 seconds to say that. So you can imagine that is the scale of this marketplace. And here's the most important, I think, the most important aspect. It is historically proven to be recession-proof. This is not anything like stocks and shares, where you hold and expect a price to go up. Whether a currency pair rises or falls, you can make money on the foreign exchange. And that's what the banks do. And that's what they do with the capital they have on deposit. So, and your bank will incentivize you to leave your capital with the bank a little bit longer and maybe give you a little bit more of a % return the longer you leave it in there. That's so that they know how much capital they have available. So let's come back to that original slide. For 2020. The company were formed in 2018 and started trading July 2019. Any other company that started in this space in 2019 no longer exists, but CFX is going from strength to strength. So let's just have a look at these figures, 329% for the year. The 2 best months of that year were the first 2 months, January and February. 36 and 37%. So what happened in March 2020? Along came a global pandemic, if you remember. And yet, this is the recession-proofing part, and yet, well in excess of 23% return per month, every single month, with the exception of December. December is always a bit less, simply because of the holiday period. And what CFX is doing, as you're going to learn as I get stuck into more detail here, is that the ethos of the company is it's turning this financial industry on its head. These kind of returns we're not used to because we've become conditioned to think in a certain way. These are the kind of returns that the banks have been getting for generations, and they've been fleecing this market accordingly. That's why their financial traders are paid 6-figure salaries and 7-figure bonuses. So let's dig into a little bit more detail about CFX. Who are they? Who's behind it? Where are they based? So 3 things I'd like to cover here: the core value of the company, the purpose, and their positioning in the marketplace. And the core value of CFX is simply to create an opportunity for those people who would not normally have access to these kind of consistent, profitable returns that the Forex market can give. As I said before, the average man and woman in the street, people like you and I. And the owners of the company have designed and structured the program in such a way that if you have no previous experience, I can't stress this enough, you don't need to know anything about financial markets. I've traded the Forex market. I did so about 12 years ago. Yes, you can make some money, but you can lose a lot more, but to make money consistently, day in, day out, is very, very difficult unless you know what you're doing. But the beauty of this is, with no previous experience, you have no involvement. I describe it as a plug and play system. Simple as that. That's the value of where CFX are at. The purpose of the company is that CFX believe it is the right for all individuals, everyone, to create, experience financial abundance and security for themselves and for their family. It's not about creating increased wealth for those who are already wealthy. This is where the owners are coming from. This is about turning the tables on the wealth creation on the planet. and helping those that need it most. And I know from my experience in business, when you can help people with, give them a sense of empowerment. If you help improve an individual's financial status, you start to release them from fear of not or never having enough to get by. And ladies and gents, another question for you. Are you here on this planet, in this existence, to just simply pay the bills until you die? I know I'm not. I hope you feel the same. That is where CFX are coming from. Their positioning, how come CFX is different? That's very simply based upon technology. This is a technology that they've developed and have owned for themselves for a very long time. And what this means to you and I is that we can now both learn and earn from a program that's been proven, been constantly developed with years of success. So who are the owners of the company? Who's behind this project? This was important to me when I was doing my research. Two gentlemen, both from the Dominican Republic and the Caribbean. Pascal Lopez, who is the CEO, and Edwin Abad, who is head of the trading operations, and he, in fact, is the genius behind the tech. Now, personally, I would not align myself or be associated with owners who have not already created massive success in their past. If this was their first success, I wouldn't be here. That's not to say that there's anything wrong with those people who achieve their first success. Of course there isn't. It's just that I know from experience that so many things can go wrong. You never know how someone is going to manage a super successful business. And these guys have already done that, and you measure their personal wealth, not in millions, not in tens of millions, but in hundreds of millions. They don't need to do CFX. And towards the end of the presentation, you'll learn more about why they're doing it. Hopefully you're getting a feeling as to why they're doing it. So their kind of success, in my humble opinion, is critically important, because I know from my financial background that to run a platform like this, and most certainly on a global scale, not let alone on a national scale, is incredibly expensive. The technology costs a phenomenal amount of money. Setting it up is in the millions. And these guys have got very deep pockets. And then you're into the realms of support staff and full-time programmers, et cetera, et cetera. It's an expensive operation to set up from day one. And that's what they've done. They've not waited for the profit to come in and then spend the profit. They've invested heavily before it even got off the ground. So where are they based? Now, these guys are from the Caribbean, and the nearest financial hub to them is in Panama, Panama City itself. And why Panama? Well, it's a strategic location in the Americas, because all the major banks, US, Canadian, European, Asian banks, are all based in Panama City. It is a real banking and financial hub. In the same, you're probably familiar with, say, Tokyo, London, New York as financial centers. But if we were talking about the Middle East, then I'd be saying Dubai would be a financial hub for the Middle East. No different for Panama in the Central Americas. And of course, with Panama, there's a lot of stability as well because of the Panama Canal. And that's important as well. So again, when I was doing my research, where have these guys set up from? Is it like an eBay or an Amazon setup, started from their garage or their bedroom? No. They purchased the whole of the 9th floor of the RBS Tower in Panama City at a cost of over $2 million US. That's how deep their pockets are from day one. And then spent another $500,000 refurbishing it. The slides you see in front of you are artists' impressions of what these offices were supposed to look like when they were due to be opened in 2020. But of course, because of the pandemic, that got put back, and the offices actually opened towards the end of last year. So what I'm going to do now is just show you a short 90-second video to give you an idea and a flavor of what these offices are like. There you go, bit of background. Enough of the background now. Let's get now stuck into a little bit about how this operation actually works and what CFX can do for you and how we actually extract money from this foreign exchange market. There's the average daily amount and the amount per second, quite staggering. I'll never get over that. There is only one way that you can extract money from this marketplace, and that is via a fully licensed and highly regulated foreign exchange broker. It's as simple as that. So how do you go about doing that? If you, and there's no doubt there's people on the call that have done this, like I have done. If you want to do the work yourself, what you do is you open up an account with the broker and you do all the work. You decide upon your trading signals. You send those signals to the broker. They facilitate the trade for you on the market and they charge you a fee for doing it. That's how they make their money. It's as simple as that. You will either win, lose or draw. Sounds very simple. So where does CFX fit into this model? Very simply, you don't have to do the work. You don't become the customer of the broker. You become the customer of CFX. CFX is the customer of the broker. That way you don't have to do anything. It's CFX that's doing all the work and sending the signals, the trading signals to the broker. So let's make this absolutely clear because there is a lot of misconception around this area. CFX is not a regulated body because it doesn't need to be, and therefore it is not offering any financial services, any financial advice, or any financial guarantees. What CFX is a foreign exchange educational company, which I'll come on to in a moment. And what it's doing is offering all its members access to its incredibly consistent trading signals, winning strategies, and best endeavors. We've never had a losing day in nearly 3 years of operating. That doesn't mean that there's no losing trades. That's impossible, but there's never been a losing day. And I'll come more onto the stats towards the end of the call. So, it is a global operation. CFX is now operating in almost 200 different countries and jurisdictions globally. I often get asked, who's the broker? There is not one broker available because there's not one broker that can that has the jurisdiction to. Would you like to remove that person from the call, please, Chris, whose name has popped up? Thank you. And there's not one broker that has the jurisdiction to operate across all of these different regulatory areas. It's as simple as that. So CFX has multiple broker relationships around the world. So let's get more. That's how CFX operate with the brokers and how they return the mechanics of how they return the profits to their members. So let's look at the product that the company has, the CFX Foreign Exchange Academy. And this is important. This is an important aspect of the platform because it is the product of the company. Trading is not the product of the company. The CFX Academy is the product, and that product is a digital one. Think of it as an online university. And this is available for those who wish to learn how to trade the foreign exchange market. Personally, I've been there and done it. This holds no interest for me at all, but I do have access to this information, as do the people that join us that wish to learn, because there are a lot of people that do wish to learn how to do this. You only have to go online to see how many businesses are set up teaching the different mechanics and ways and theories of trading the marketplace. Set in 3 different stages: elemental, advanced, and supreme. So the idea is that you could come in as a complete novice if this is what you wish to do, and by going through the whole program end up as a professional trader. But like I say, that's not something that's of interest to me. If I can still profit in the same way that the professional traders do without doing anything, then now I'm interested. So let's get into a little bit more detail now through the product of the company as to how we actually extract funds back to our members. That's done through a series of trading packs. think of this as a trading ladder. There are a total of 15 steps or rungs on the ladder, starting as low as $300 US. That's the figure of 300 you see here, US dollars. That is the minimum entry level. And the idea is that you climb by utilizing your profits. You can start anywhere on this ladder you wish, and you climb over time through, you can see there, until you start getting into the tens of thousands of dollars, and then ultimately all the way to a $100,000 account. So it's the intention of the owners of that when they set this platform up, that you have the freedom and ability to start anywhere on this ladder that you wish. Simple as that. 300, 500,000. But the important thing is that you choose a level to come in at that you feel comfortable with, and you're not going to lose any sleep over. And I'll expand on that in a moment. And it's also important that you come in at a level that, in terms of your capital outlay, I say to people that you use an amount of capital that you're not going to need, want or miss for the next 12 to 18 months. Simple as that. So let's give a little bit more detail. There's a lot of numbers on this screen, but I'm often asked, well, how long, if I come in at X level, how long is it going to take me? Well, let's give you some meat on the bone. Let's talk about the different pack sizes here in the green column, starting at $300. And I'm assuming here, for the purpose of this exercise, we've got to assume a given rate of return. And of course, past performance does not guarantee any future returns. We don't have a crystal ball, but for the purpose of the exercise, we've got to assume something. CFX has averaged in excess of 6% since its start. You'll see when I come to the figures for last year, it averaged for the first 50 weeks of the year over 5% per week. This year, we're slightly less than that. But for the purpose of this exercise, let's assume 1% a day, 5% a week. So on a $300 account, that is going to generate in the yellow column a weekly return of around $10 or $11. Not very exciting, not very life-changing. However, you only have to scan further down to see what a $100,000 account will generate in terms of passive income per week, $3,500. So how long is it going to take? If someone was to decide to come in at the lowest entry level, and by the way, think of the ethos here. This is not, for most done-for-you services in the foreign exchange market, I've seen them start at 100,000. The lowest I've seen outside of this platform is 10,000. This is where the owners of the company are coming from. With as little of $300 in the UK, that's about 240, 250 pounds. Most people can afford that amount of outlay. This is how they're getting it into the hands of the average people in the street. But a $300 account at this rate of return is going to take 61 months, 5 years. So when I saw this, my initial reaction was 250 quid, it's worth a punt. But as I delved into the detail and got to understand this a little bit more, I chose to come in at a $1,000 level. That was in September 2019, so 17 months ago, 18 months ago. Why did I do that? I did it for two reasons. First of all, I was comfortable coming in at that level. If I lost $1,000, I would not be very happy, but it wouldn't change my life. So I was comfortable with that. But the other thing is I noticed that you can see here in the pink column on the right-hand side, that saved me 14 months, over a year in time. So this is going to take me 47 months for a $1,000 account to get to this $100,000 level and this $3,500 a week. It didn't take me 47 months. It took me 7 months because there's other ways of generating income into the account, which I'll talk about in a moment. So another thing that I suggest when people are considering joining this platform is that you do not look at this as a get-rich-quick scheme. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. This is not a put money in today, get it out tomorrow scheme. You use the bank for that. What this is a medium to long-term wealth creation program, because once you get to this level down here, this 100,000 level, it keeps repeating. And we can explain that when we've got more time. That income keeps repeating. I've already renewed my 100K account, and I'm on my second account, and I'll be renewing in a couple of more months' time that again. I'll explain as we go through. So let's look at the different ways that you could add additional income to your account. There are 3 ways of getting money into your account. The first is what we refer to as bare capital. I say doing the bare minimum, i.e. nothing. Bare capital is what we refer to as the trading returns. You purchase your trading pack, you do nothing, within 72 hours, your account is being traded and generating income, which goes into the balance of your account. As I mentioned earlier, Forex is traded 5 days a week, Monday to Friday, and every Saturday, whatever that account has generated in the week, that money drops into our balance. And we all receive an email saying, congratulations, you've got X amount going into your account. Lovely. The second way you can generate income into your account is what we refer to as bull capital, and that is sharing the opportunity. So the person that brought you to the call here today wants you to also benefit from the returns they are already getting. And they thought that you would like to see what's going on here as well. And the third way of doing that, adding additional income to your account, is through the leadership and ranking levels, and I'll touch on that as well. So let's really dig into the detail now and look at an example of a trading pack and how it works. So this is a good example because this is the level I came in at, a $1,000 account. The principle for every trading pack is exactly the same, whether it's $300 or $100,000, it's exactly the same. And that is 70% goes in the trading pool. That is the amount traded for you in the marketplace. 30% gives you access to the digital product, the online trading academy, but it also doubles up as the compensational remuneration platform. So let's look at this. I joined my sponsor, my good friend, who I will be forever indebted to, introduced this to me. And when I joined on a $1,000 account, he immediately received half of this 30% as a fast start payment. So he received $150 into his account, 15%, half of that 30%. He also received 10% of what we refer to as our unilevel, our management structure bonus. So he received in total $165. Fantastic. Over and above his trading returns. But here's the thing. By the time I upgraded my account from profit, I've never added any more money. In my first month, my $1,000 account went from 1,000 to 10,000. And every time I upgraded, he got paid again. So by the time I took this account through profits, not by adding any more capital, and got it to the 100K level, he received $15,000 in Fast Start and $1,500, so $16,500 over a 7-month period. And then 6 months later, when I renewed the account, he got paid that again. And he'll get paid again in the next few months. It's a phenomenal repeating residual income platform over and above the trading returns. Quite incredible. He deserves every single penny as far as I'm concerned. The other thing just to be aware of briefly is that the contract, each trading pack is a contract, and the contract says that 70% is going to return you a maximum of 200% of the pack value. So you can see a figure here being quoted of $2,000. That is twice the pack value. And if the account gets that far, if you've allowed it to accumulate to that level, then the contract finishes. It's like the fuel tank in your car. Once you fill it up, you can't put any more in. But what we do is, well before it gets to that level, we utilize the profits in there to upgrade to the next level. And in this example, take the account from 1K to 2K. Why would you want to do that? Well, you're going to double your daily and weekly returns. By the time you've done your first upgrade, you have more capital in the trading pool. So a $2,000 account has $1,400 in the trading pool. So you've got more capital in the trading pool than your initial outlay. Very, very clever platform and program. The third way of generating income into your account is through leadership and ranking bonuses. When I looked at CFX, there were 80,000 members worldwide. We're close to 400,000 now. We have about 2,500 executives. Chris, who introduced you did the introduction on the call. We'll hear again from him in a moment. He is one of about 500 managers. I'm one of about 150 directors. There are 14 presidents, 4 ambassadors. Nobody has yet made it to global ambassador. This is a young company in its 3rd year, going places, obviously. If you've ever before looked at an opportunity and thought, I wish I'd have been in at the beginning, how lucky would I have been then to have been at the beginning? You're looking at that opportunity right now. That's why you've been invited to the call. So let's do a quick recap. Why CFX? Right timing. It's the right market, despite what's gone on in the market, financial markets in the last 2 years with the pandemic. We're dealing with a marketplace which is recession-proof, historically proven, and right growing trends as well. This is important. I do not come from a networking background, nor does Chris. You do not have to be a networker to make money here. I'll expand upon this as we go through this. And this was a key ingredient for me when considering getting on board with this platform. Everyone wins. No one gets left behind. What I mean by that is you purchase your trading account, you have capital in the trading pool. If we make 1% in a day, if we make 0.5% in a day, every member gets paid the same percentage. Everyone wins. There is no joining fee other than your capital outlay when you decide which level you want to come in at. That's it. There's no membership fees. There's no ongoing monthly auto ship fees. There's no physical products to sell. You don't have to become an expert in pills, potions, or Tupperware. You can choose to do absolutely 100% nothing and just take the passive income if that's what you prefer. We get paid into our balance every Saturday, whatever the trading returns are for the week. Negligible attrition. Not many people leave when they're making 18 to 20% a month in, month out. Certainly well over 350,000 members now, close to 400,000. The technology owned and built in-house. This is important. You can go online and find plenty of people offering third-party tech that may work for a week, 2, or even a few months. But this tech is being continually developed. It's not something they designed 5 years ago and they're still living off the back of. It is a constantly evolving thing. And that tech has already proven to be successful, of course. The company, in less than 3 years, has already paid out over $950 million to its members, almost $1 billion already. It's going to become a $1 billion company very, very soon. Super successful and wealthy owners behind the platform that have got deep pockets. That's important. Who don't need to do CFX. I'll come on to why they're doing it. A wealth creation program like no other. What you're witnessing here this evening is unique. Why is it unique? Because no one in this space has ever owned and built with their own, if you're familiar with Forex terminology, EA technology, expert advisor, or AI, artificial intelligence, and then had the personal wealth and the deep pockets and the courage and the dedication to create anything like this platform before, because it's built for the people to benefit the people, specifically launched to assist everyone in building a brighter financial future. It's not been built to highlight the financial inequality that we still see around the world today. This is disruptive, but in a good way. And this is what I've been alluding to with regard to the ethos behind the company and the owners and why they've done this. The humanitarian ethos and spirit behind this is incredible because there are so many things you can do with this. But remember, I believe that you can't serve from an empty cup. You have to be financially secure before you can help others. But just to give you a flavor of what people are doing with this, a lot of charities are benefiting from this. The members in CFX who are assisting charities around the world. A personal friend of mine in Ireland is supporting and feeding the homeless in his country through this platform. Another friend of mine who I've got to know quite well, she has been quietly feeding a village for the last 2 years in the Far East through the use of this platform. Quite incredible. And you can help those who are closer to home, of course. Now, I'm a firm believer that charity begins at home. And if you can't help your family, let alone your friends, then who can you help? So the first people that a lot of people want to help and get on board with this are their closest, their nearest and dearest, parents, children, brothers, sisters. And there is a natural organic growth that takes place with this. Even people who say, I'm not going to introduce this to anybody, and they want to sit quietly on top of it. It's very difficult to, after a while, when you see it working. So here's another key important aspect. I've touched on this already. Every single member makes a profit. Let's just make this clear. This is not a question of purchasing something and then nothing happens. You get paid every Saturday. We all do. And that's why you've been invited to this call today, so that you can benefit as well. No one I know has ever regretted joining CFX. There is only one way you can join CFX. That's through personal recommendation and referral only. But you need to be careful out there, because there are scammers with fake sites and fake apps. CFX does not have an app. And people have lost money by, I mentioned this earlier, Google searching, by searching for CFX and joining a mirror image fake site. And of course, they've lost their money. And when people lose money, they're naturally very unhappy about it and can get quite vocal about it. They think they've lost money to CFX. That's not the case. No one's lost any money in joining CFX. It doesn't work like that. What they've actually done is they've been scammed. And of course, nowadays, we don't get robbed in our homes anymore, do we? We get robbed online. And it's no different to any other financial operation that you get approached by, be it I was approached recently by a bank who I don't bank with, and reputedly, the Inland Revenue asking for my bank details because I'm supposed to be owed a tax rebate. Yeah, I'm not going to fall for that one either. So don't get sidetracked by any uninformed and unintelligent information that's out there. There's plenty of it. Get back to the person that introduced you to the call, and we will point you in the right direction where you can find correct information. So have you found the catch yet? Don't worry, because in a moment I'm going to tell you exactly what the catch is. So let's do a quick recap on those figures. Those are the figures I showed you for 2020, the first full calendar year. Let's bring you up to speed with last year. Again, incredible figures, over 254% for the year. Every single month, over 20% return, with again the exception of December. So for the first 50 weeks of the year, we averaged over 5% per week, over 1% every working day. December, because of the holiday period, is always a bit less. Let's bring you right up to speed, and let's talk about what we returned on, we all received in our accounts on Monday, and that is 1.05% on Monday. Let's go back to what I said right at the beginning of this call. My bank gives me 0.01% per annum. My money would need to be in my bank account for 105 years. That's during the First World War, 1917, to get the same return that we received on Monday. Yesterday, Tuesday, 0.86%. So only 86 years, just before the Second World War. And so you're now at this stage possibly thinking two things. This sounds too good to be true, and what's the catch? So let's cover that off. Is it too good to be true or too good to miss? Is it too good to be true that a teenage footballer can earn £1 million a month? It's not too good to be true for him, but it is too good to be true for us, of course. And that's no different to the returns that our members in CFX are receiving, which is why you've been invited to the call today. It's not too good to be true for the person that brought you to the call, because they're already seeing this happening in their account. And secondly, most importantly, you've got to think about how we've become conditioned to think. We've become what's acceptable to receive from the financial industry as a percentage return, when the banks have been receiving these returns and more for generations. And I mentioned the catch. I'm going to tell you what the catch is right now. And very simply, it is this. I'm living proof of this. You're going to lose some sleep if you choose to get involved with this platform. Why would you lose sleep? Because once you see it working, you're on the outside looking in at the moment. Once you're on the inside looking out and you see it working, and you start to understand how this is put together and how it works, the dreams, goals, and aspirations you have in the back of your mind, which are constrained 9 times out of 10 for financial reasons, will start to come to the forefront of your mind. And they start to become reachable, attainable, and touchable. So that's the catch, ladies and gents. You'll lose some sleep. And I like this. Success leaves clues. Follow in the footprints of those who have traveled before you. I always believe that when the value is clear, the decision is easy. And hopefully you can now see the value of what we've got here and why you've been invited to follow in the footsteps of the person that brought you to the call. That's the end of my presentation.